Let me put it quite frankly to you. If you want to start a civil war in South Africa, do that. Do that.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. As South Africa awakens to the nightmare of expropriation without compensation, now the law of the land, just like the immoral apartheid regime, which imposed laws on people based on their race, South Africa's government is imposing laws to steal land from people, well, based on their race. Really? Well, it's a lot more than just land. It's about property. But what's going on here? What can be done to roll back the expropriation without compensation law? Now that it's law, it's no longer a bill. Well, there are options, and the Freedom Front Plus is leading the way. Specifically, South Africa's constitution allows for a challenge to any law passed by Parliament.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simonstown and Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
An application by members of the National Assembly to the Constitutional Court under Section 80, Paragraph 1, members of the National Assembly may apply to the Constitutional Court for an order declaring that all or part of an act of Parliament is unconstitutional. However, this application must be supported by at least 1/3 of the members of the National Assembly, or 132 of the 400 members, and it must be made within 30 days of the date on which the President assented and signed the act. Well, that was now a day ago, so the clock is ticking. Now, according to the Freedom Front Plus, this effort on their part to go directly to Constitutional Court as members of Parliament to challenge this law says just one of the steps that the Freedom Front Plus is taking to prevent the Expropriation Act. The Freedom Front Plus maintains that the law is unconstitutional, as do I. It not only poses serious risk for South Africans in regards to property rights, but it also sends an extremely negative message to the international community. Exactly. In explaining their intention to go immediately to the Con Court, the Freedom Front Plus pointed out the obvious implications of expropriation without compensation. Namely, investors will not easily be persuaded to invest in a country where their property could be expropriated. One reason why so much foreign direct investment disappeared from Zimbabwe, with their indigenous law, which required that you give 51% of your equity to a Zimbabwe-based group. But not just a Zimbabwe-based group, a Black Zimbabwe-based group. Now, if there are not enough parties to support a Section 80 application, the Freedom Front Plus says it will still approach the Constitutional Court to challenge the act's constitutionality. They won't be alone. They will not be alone. A lot of parties are lining up, political and other actors, to challenge the constitutionality of this law. Now, all South Africans, as well as everyone in any democratic dispensation, have the right to own property, and government has no right to expropriate it without market-related compensation, according to the Freedom Front Plus. Well, they're correct. South Africa's constitution enshrines that right under Section 25. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights enshrines that right, which was signed by South Africa. It is a basic human right. Taking people's property without compensation is theft. There's no two ways around it. Now, how does a Section 80 challenge work? Now, I have to say that any hope that a parliamentary challenge under Section 80 would succeed would appear to be thin at best, and a pipe dream at worst. Still, an effort must be made, and the Freedom Front Plus are leading the way here. So how do things look in the National Assembly? Well, getting to the 1/3 or 132 votes will not be easy. The Democratic Alliance has 87 votes, the Inkatha Freedom Party 17, the Freedom Front Plus 6. All three of those parties are openly and adamantly opposed to expropriation without compensation. Action SA, which would likely side with this group, has 6 seats, and the African Christian Democratic Party has 3 seats in Parliament. 132 are needed. That falls short by 13 votes, leaving him at 119. So where could they possibly get other votes? Well, it seems less likely, but there is a possibility that they could pick up votes from the Patriotic Alliance. That's 9, significant. Bosa, Musi Maimani's effort, 2 votes, former member of the Democratic Alliance. And this one seems least likely, General Bantu Holomisa's United Democratic Movement. That would give them 14 votes. Add that to the 119, and you have the number of votes for this to go before the Constitutional Court immediately. I don't think that's likely. However, a much odder pairing is indeed possible. Another way, an odd, strange bedfellows way to get to the 132 votes in Parliament, the 1/3 needed, would be that initial grouping I talked about, but the addition of the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party and the Economic Freedom Fighters, or either one of them would do it. MK with 58 votes and the EFF with 39 would get them over the total. But if both join, that's 97 votes, taking 216 and over half of Parliament. Both MK and EFF, MK in this statement opposes it, but for different reasons than the friendly group on the left. And the EFF also oppose it, but also for different reasons. They claim that land is stolen and white people are evil because of their skin color. Racist statements, to say the least. But the bottom line here is that strange bedfellows it may take to get this thing in front of the Constitutional Court immediately. Let's see what happens. It is a path potentially forward. We'll have to keep you up to date as it goes forward. I'll do my best to reach out to members of these political parties to get some feedback, if it's possible, on where they're going and if, in fact, they'll be able to cobble together 132 votes to go to the Constitutional Court. Fingers crossed. Let's hope it goes there, because this will be declared unconstitutional unless the court is bought, paid for, corrupt. There's no way this survives. It's in clear violation of Section 25 of the Constitution. There's no question about it. No question about it. What say you, South Africa? Cheers.